Welcome back. Here for the huge Sheffield show press conference, October the 24th. Not just huge for Sheffield and Yorkshire, but huge for British boxing. A double header on Sky Sports box office. Of course, a huge packed card from Sheffield Arena, headlined by the special one, KELL BROOK, the third defence of his IBF welterweight title. And then straight to Germany for the world heavyweight crown, Tyson Fury against Vladimir Klitschko. A massive night, and as always wouldn't be possible without our long-term exclusive partners in Sky Sports, and I'd like to pass over to the head of boxing, Adam Smith, now.
Thanks very much. Yeah, really exciting weekend ahead on October the 24th. Just want to talk very quickly about last weekend. I know Josh Warrington's here, Gavin's brother Jamie as well. I thought it was a terrific start to the season. Josh's crowd, his atmosphere in Leeds, second to none. It reminds me of the Ricky Hatton days. And as for Jamie going out and doing what he did in a rematch with a much touted and feared man in Tomoki Kameda, I thought it was one of the performances of the year. I think he's a really underrated fighter, and I'm so glad that finally he's being seen as what he is, which is a true champion. So I congratulate Dave and Jamie on that. A wonderful win for British boxing in Texas. Back to the 24th. It's a huge night. Vladimir Klitschko, who's reigned supreme for so long over the heavyweight division, and Tyson Fury, Mr. Unpredictable, the unbeaten Fury, who promises us that he's going to knock out Klitschko. Can he deliver on his words? I think it's going to be an amazing event in Dusseldorf. 50,000 people packed in. I think Rod Stewart's singing. It's going to be a huge occasion over there. But equally, there's a massive night here in the Steel City. I hold Sheffield very close to my heart, with coming up here over the years, spending a lot of time with the Ingalls and Naz and Ryan Rhodes, and of course my comrade Johnny Nelson. And I'm stuck about where I want to be, and I think my team will feel the same way. Sheffield or Dusseldorf, I think both are going to be terrific places to be on the October the 24th, and I hope it's a fantastic night on Sky Sports box office. Of course, we'll bring you all the build-up over the next few weeks on skysports.com, on Sky Sports News. We're going to have a gloves are off, we're going to have ringside specials, we're going to have countdowns, everything. So there's be a massive build-up to the 24th. Very much looking forward to seeing how KELL BROOK gets on with Diego Chavez as well over here. So very, very exciting times. I think it's a terrific few weeks ahead, isn't it?
Thank you, Adam. This is going to be a very special event from Sheffield. Something's going to be done, and a few things are going to happen in the arena that I don't think's happened before. Of course, we've got the big fight coming in from Dusseldorf, and we'll open the doors at 4 p.m. on October the 24th with a number of young Sheffield boxers on the bill and fighting. A couple of fights that have just even been made just now between Dave Caldwell and Dominic Ingle, between Atif Shafiq and Jamie Robinson, I think. Oh, well, yeah. Or maybe not made, or still thinking about it. Another fight which I think is a fantastic fight, which will be on the card as well, is a British title eliminator for the featherweight title between Lee Wood and Josh Wale. A couple of major title fights to announce as well. Jamie McDonald obviously was up here earlier. His brother, Gavin McDonald, will defend his European Super Bantamweight title against France's Jeremy Parody on the card. And also delighted to announce that Ricky Burns will tackle the European champion Edis Tatley for the European lightweight title on the card as well. There'll be another announcement coming later this week, early next week, of the main chief support fight for this card, which is going to be a huge one. And of course, around 10:30 p.m, we'll be broadcasting live from Dusseldorf on the big screens all around the arena to show Tyson Fury against Vladimir Klitschko. Headlined, of course, by KELL BROOK against Diego Chavez. We'll talk about that fight in a few minutes. Firstly, I'm going to pass down to Dave Caldwell and talk about Gavin McDonald and the Parody fight. Of course, a fight that was originally scheduled for Leeds until Jamie's date got given, and now probably even better to be part of this card.
Yeah, I think originally when it was made for September 5th, it only gave myself and Gavin a few, probably about 7 weeks to work together. 7 or 8. So obviously when Jamie's fight came along, the EBU kind of agreed to put the fight back. Everyone was happy, and then it gave us an extra time. It meant that Gavin could come over to Texas and use that as part of the training camp. So he's had a good couple of weeks training out in Texas in the heat, sparring in some red hot roasting gyms, Done a lot of sparring with, as well as with doing some sparring with Jamie. He's mixing and sparred with Ryan Burnett, who I spoke about early on. It was a outstanding talent. So sparring that he's had out there already has been fantastic. The work that he's been putting in the gym before we went out there has been great. He's in great shape now, physically. He looks like a machine. He's been doing things that he hasn't done before. Track work, things like that, he's enjoying. And it's all going really well, really well. Parody's a very good fighter. Now, initially I'd only ever seen him against Carl Frampton, begins with an F. And he looked like a runner. Then watching his fights where he's won his international titles and things like that, he's actually come forward, throws punches in bunches, gives it a head movement, rolling forward. He's an aggressive fighter. So he can run. When he runs, he doesn't look as well as when he comes forward. But I think looking at Gavin's record, he'll probably think that he can come and bring the fight to Gavin. We're preparing for both things, but the things that we're working on with Gavin is just to improve him. He's definitely punching harder now. He's already noticed that, and the people that he's been sparring with have already noticed him that. So there's improvements already after 7 weeks of working together. So I'm looking forward to getting, now we're getting back. He's going to have today off. We'll start doing a little bit tomorrow, and by the end of the week we'll be in full flow again. And so I'm looking forward to the full training camp.
Gavin, obviously a wonderful weekend for the McDonald family, and I know only add fuel to the fire for your own journey. And you've had some great nights at Sheffield Arena. Obviously you captured the European title there earlier this year. Your brother Jamie's had some great wins there. Part of a huge card and a massive fight for you against Parody on October 24th.
Yeah, we obviously we've been Texas. Our kid had another fantastic win. We've come back, put me in a brilliant mood. Do you know what I mean? Set the ball rolling. He's had his day today. Now it's all about me. Got 7 weeks to get myself in shape, which, in all fairness, I could have fought last weekend, and I would have been able to fight. Do you know what I mean? I was in great shape. Got 7 weeks now. Knuckle down, get some great sparring, and prepare for Parody. Another fantastic night at Sheffield, topped by KELL. I'm just looking forward to being on a part of these big shows and building myself into a world title, world champion. Do you know what I mean? Ready for when the big fights come.
And obviously you're probably bored now of answering a question where you won area titles and British titles and European titles, and every achievement seemed to be beyond what you expected. Now you're there, world ranked, seeing what your brothers has done. The world title is really a realistic opportunity in the next 12 months.
Definitely. Obviously, I see my brother. He's doing it all. Do you know what I mean? We know belief in half of them fights. He's just taking it step by step. But I've seen he generally, if you put the work in, think the good things will come. And I'm more than put the work in. I'm willing to sacrifice everything for the next 3-4 years to achieve what I want to achieve. And world champion, believe it or not. People say you'll not be a world champion, but it's not up to them to go out there and do it. Do you know what I mean? It's me, and I 100% believe I will be a world champion. I know I won't retire until I am. This is another fight, another step on the way, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Gavin. Someone asked me today on social media who the #1 pound for pound fighter was in the UK, and my answer was this man, KELL BROOK. I firmly believe that he is not just the #1 pound for pound fighter in the UK right now, but I believe he's the best 147 pound fighter in the UK. And I believe over the next 12 months you're all going to get a chance to see it. I think you saw a little piece against Sean Porter, and now you have a great fight in Diego Chavez. And people can say that Chavez has drawn with Bradley and he was beating Rios, but this is, in my opinion, the toughest test of KELL BROOK's career to date. Chavez is rough, he's tough, he's got 19 KOs in 23 victories, and he is really, really coming to Sheffield to fight. I think it's a great style for KELL BROOK, and I think it's going to be a wonderful fight for him to be a part of. Chavez commented last week that the negotiation was closed a few days ago. I was already training hard and this offer came through for a world title. First of all, I believe my recent streak has not been that bad. Even though I lost to Rios, I was ahead on all cards, and the draw with Bradley also. This fight is going to be different because Brook is a fighter that is completely different to the other guys. We know he is technically proficient, and I believe this plays right into our hands. We both have a similar style. I think Brook we need to go to the body more, but that's atypical for European boxers. We know he is a tough fighter, very technical. He's a linear fighter, very frontal. He's not a fast fighter, and he's easily bothered by body punches, and that is one of our strengths. I believe he has problems going backwards. We saw that in the fight against Sean Porter. When Porter charged forward, Brook had trouble adjusting to that. But we know that he's a great fighter to face, and we are going to test his punching power too. I believe that aside from the fights I have had abroad, they keep me in mind because of my quality of boxing and the excitement that I bring. They realise I look great in the ring. I stand up and I trade with anyone without any problems. I feel that my confidence grows with this challenge, knowing that I have to face a champion like KELL BROOK in his home country. This raises the stakes for me, going up there as an Argentine and as a huge underdog. We know that bad blood exists between Argentina and England, and this will give me much more strength. I'll be making my own history when I defeat KELL BROOK in his own country. Dom, obviously, when we looked at the fighters ahead, Diego Chavez was one that you knew was a tough fight, but stylistically you felt could make for a great fight on October 24th.
Yeah, he's a rough, tough handful, like you said, Eddie. And he's been with the top guys. He was a former interim world champion WBA. He won it, defended it, and then he got beat by Keith Thurman. And, for the first 8 or 9 rounds, he was giving Thurman a good fight. Thurman adjusted, got to his boxing, and took him out. But, for the first 5 or 6 rounds, Diego Chavez is one of them type of kids that you don't actually need. And if you let him get settled and get into his stride, he's going to cause you, a hard night like he did with Rios and with Bradley. It's a tough fight for KELL because it's not a fight that's going to really move him on, but it's going to give people an idea where he stands with the likes of Timothy Bradley and Keith Thurman. I think people are going to be looking at this fight. The ones who know about boxing know Chavez is tough, and depending on how KELL deals with him, it'll make you realise where KELL actually is compared to the other champions. I think that's what everybody's going to be looking at. KELL can't take his eye off the ball. If you let this kid get settled, he's rough with his head, his elbows, he's a dirty fighter, he'll try and take you out of his stride. As far as his comments about KELL being, limited or, linear or doesn't like it to the body, let's not forget he beat Sean Porter in America, and he did a good job. Nobody expected him to win that fight. And he did. So, Diego Chavez is a tough challenge. We're not taking him lightly at all. He's very, very tough. And like I say, he's going to come to win. He can punch. He's got a very good knockout record. And KELL's got to be 100% on it. So it's going to be an interesting night.
Obviously, the comparisons will be there on KELL's performance. Obviously, first and foremost, he's got to win. But the comparisons about Bradley, Rios, Thurman. Where do you feel as his trainer he stands amongst those fighters?
To be honest, I'd have loved the next fight to be against Timothy Bradley. We faced Timothy Bradley with Junior Witter, and Timothy Bradley's come a long, long way since that fight. He's had some big paydays, had some great fights. But I think Timothy Bradley would be made for KELL. I think he'd actually stop Timothy Bradley. But we'll see with this fight with Chavez. He's like I say. For me, people said that he got robbed in that fight. I thought it was a close fight. KELL's got height and he's got reach. Timothy Bradley's a short guy. Thurman's quite short, and KELL uses it very, very well. And everybody thinks they can find a chink in KELL BROOK's armour, but when they get in the ring, they realise they can't. Sean Porter was talking a great fight when he was going to fight KELL BROOK, but it was a different story afterwards. He knew he'd lost the fight. So it's a different prospect when you actually have to stand in that ring with KELL BROOK and fighting than looking at him how he boxes.
KELL, obviously a great night on March 28th at the Sheffield Arena against Jojo Dan. Just a few weeks later, 19,000 at the O2. It was a chance for you to box out of Sheffield back in London where you previously boxed. But now, returning to the arena, which I feel your toughest fight to date.
Absolutely. It's definitely my toughest fight. I'm happy that we're bringing big time boxing back to Yorkshire, back to Sheffield. Diego Chavez, we know what he comes. He's rough, he's tough. He comes and brings it. He comes and like he said, they all have a game plan when they get in with me. He's saying I'm slow and everything else, but I've got the best jab in boxing. You know, and I use my skills to my best advantage, and you know, they all have a game plan until they get hit. When he tastes the chocolate brown in your right hand, you know, he's gonna know real quick that he's in a fight. But you know, he enjoys being in a fight. He got a draw with Timothy Bradley. You know, so it shows you what level he's at. You know, Timothy Bradley, you know, went out and beat Manny Pacquiao, beat Marquez, been in some massive fights. So it shows you that he's an elite fighter. You know, he's not to come over here and you know shy away from the Sheffield fans and fans around Britain. You know, he's going to come and bring it. You know, he knows he's been a world champion, interim world champion. He knows what it's like at that level. You know, but it's down to me to make a statement. You know, people are gonna look at me in this fight and you know, look at me and Thurman's win and Bradley. So you know, there's a lot of pressure on me in this fight. But like I've always said, I would perform better under pressure. I'm looking to make a statement. I'm looking to do what you know the other fighters that haven't done and stopping before 10 rounds. You know, I'm going to have my hands full. We're training hard. We're going back out to training camp in Spain. You know, we've got some hard sparring partners lined up. You know, we're going to do some hard track sessions. You know, in the heat. You know, we're going to make sure that there's no stone unturned in this fight. This isn't an easy fight at all. So anyone what thinks it is mistaken. All you have to do is look at Chavez's fights. You'll see that he's never in a dull fight. He always comes to bring the heat. You know, so the Sheffield fans are in for a real treat because you know you've seen me in the Carson Jones fight. I've got I wear my heart on my sleeve. And, you know, when it gets tough in there, I come to fight. So I'm excited for everyone out there. I'm excited for my team. I'm looking forward to defending this world title here and putting a show on.
Obviously, we know you love to fight, and the Jojo Dan fight again was quite an awkward southpaw, and then a few weeks later, Frankie Gavin again, another technical southpaw fighter. A much easier with Chavez to devise a game plan, and much easier to know exactly what's going to happen in the ring. You're going to be in for a real fight, and a tough and perhaps a dirty fight as well.
Absolutely, we know what he's going to come. We know he's going to come straight for us. He's going to attack the body like he says. You know, they've all tried it, they've all done it, but once you're in there with me, you know, it's all different story. He's going to know real quick that he's in a fight. You know, he might enjoy that. You don't know, he might get off on that. Who knows? But when I start tagging him, he's going to know that he's in a real fight. You know, Eddie. You know, I always adapt with every style. You know, being in the Dingle gym, I've seen every style. You know, so it doesn't take me a round or two to figure out a new style. I've been in with southpaws. Everybody says that they have problems with them. I knock them out. You know, that's what we do.
That's what you do.
We adjust. We get the win. 35. You don't get to 35-0 being a rubbish fighter. You know, I go in there and I just want to thank you for saying, you know, I'm the number one pound for pound in your eyes, and I'm gonna live up to that, and I'm gonna make a statement and you know, cement my name. I'm looking to make a legacy in this game. You know, and I want the top boys after this fight, Eddie. I want the Bradleys, the Pacquiaos, the Khans. I want the top names after this fight.
Do you feel that obviously this is the fight to really cement your position in the division, and in terms of those names to really show them that you are the real deal?
This is the fight. This is the fight. You know, I think style makes fights. I think this is going to be the fight what really, you know, propels me onto the massive fights. You know, after this fight, every opponent I want to be in with is going to be them names what we've all heard of, and I think doing a job on Chavez is gonna do that for me, and that's all I've ever wanted, to fight the very best out there, to see how I get on with these guys, and I know whoever I spar with, whoever I get in with, I always find a way and I always beat him, and it's going to be no difference October 24th in Sheffield.
Thank you, Kel. I can't wait for this fight, Kell Brook against Diego Chavez. There's big things ahead for Kell Brook, and there's been plenty said in the media from so-called top welterweights, but I'll tell you loud and clear, I don't believe there's any welterweights in the world that want to willingly get in the ring with Kell Brook, and people in boxing know how good Kell Brook is. People like Brandon Rios, Robert Garcia, we gave them everything that we were asked to give them. They still wouldn't want to come. Why? Because they knew they were going to get beat. You know, these other fighters you know, Bradley, Thurman. We're going to bring them. It's going to take a lot of money, but that's okay. But they don't want to come because they know what kind of animal KELL BROOK is at £147. So we take our hat off to Diego Chavez. He's someone that's actively looking for the big fights rather than just easy paydays. So he's come and he's going to put everything on the line on October 24th. But I can tell you now, this kid is very, very special. Always has been, always will be. He may never be beaten, 35-0. And the Chavez fight is going to show you just how good he is. So October 24th, spread the word. Get ready for a huge night of boxing in Sheffield and a huge night of boxing on Sky Sports box office. Thank you all for coming, and roll on October 24th. Thank you very much.